Now, for business updates across the African continent, Rotus Odiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Ayo. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Doctor. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, everybody out there. We begin with Bitcoin, crossing $40,000 early this morning in Asian trading. Why is that? Well, it's the talk of possible interest rate cuts in the new year. Cryptocurrencies are risky assets, and so risky assets have a inverse relationship with where rates are going. As rates go up, they go down. As rates go down, they go up. So this is on the back of expectations that we might see rate cuts in the new year, or at least more holds from the Federal Reserve. Also, the possibility of a Bitcoin ETF, exchange traded fund, possibly being approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission in the new year. So that's on Bitcoin. We go to Evergrande. Evergrande got a reprieve this morning. In fact, I didn't even know it was adjourned until not too long ago, but I just managed to pop that in there. So there are some investors like Topshine Global, which is a foreign investor, saying it has not met its obligations. You know, they've defaulted. Evergrande, Country Garden, they are the stories, the poster boys, failed poster boys of China's indebted property sector. So it was in Hong Kong High Court this morning. The petition was for them to liquidate their assets. They said they failed to honor their claims. So the judge said, well, we'll adjourn until January the 29th, which will give them more time to be able to sort out their debt issues with their creditors. We go from that over to, this is so cool. So this company is pretty much putting together a robot toilet cleaner. They've been working on this now for a couple years. They're in Singapore. And what it is that they're saying, at least the two founders, the two gentlemen, one of them is 23 years old. His name is Tang Huen. The other guy is Rishab Patri. That's Tang Huen right there. He's 23 years old. Rishab Patri, his co-founder, he's 26 years old. They met at the National University of Singapore, and it has a program with the JTB. It's a board that is part of the Ministry of Trade and Investment in Singapore that assists investors, or at least young startups, to bring their ideas to reality. So they've been funded to the tune of, I think, somewhere to almost $100,000. They're trying to get some more investment. But it's called Abluo, which is Latin for cleanse, developed by this company, Hivebotics, that's the name of the company. As I said, supported by the National University of Singapore and JTC Corp. Testing phase is set for the second quarter of next year. Commercial launch is set for July 2024. They're essentially saying that, toilet cleaning should not be done by humans, and basically humans should focus on something else. The key thing here is, though, how can a robot tell if a toilet is clean? We as human beings have senses, so we know, we can see. So they are working on 3D sensors and ultraviolet scanners that will be able to tell if the toilet is clean after it's been cleaned by this machine. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, up next, how many times am I going to talk about India on the morning show and everywhere? I think India is the story of 2023. This is the North American box office for this weekend. So Beyonce was #1 with her new movie. You've got The Hunger Games into Godzilla. But skip top 5. We go to the top 6. The key thing here is this particular movie, Animal, in #7. It is the second highest Bollywood debut at the North American box office. Basically, another movie is called Pathan. That was the biggest movie on Bollywood. Bollywood films are being released in American theaters and competing with US movies and making US dollars. They have now, we keep
the Indian population.
Yeah, but that's
in America.
But this is this year now. How long has the population been big? I'm talking about this year.
I'm saying there's an Indian population in America.
Yeah,
there's an ecosystem for it.
It's not just Indians that are watching the films. There's something called exit polls. You check the number of people who watch a film after they're done. Americans are watching them. African Americans are watching them. But it's not just Indians watching the movie. So the point is that these films, this year alone, 2023, 2 films back in January, Pathan, and now in December, which is Animal, are the 2 biggest Bollywood debuts in US box office history. So we keep saying that Nollywood is bigger than Bollywood in terms of it's not. I mean, as far as revenues, Bollywood is in terms of revenues, it's way bigger, because these are movies that are actually earning US dollars. In fact, look, Pathan has made over 128 million. It's made more money than the Marvels, which is a MCU film. So from Foxconn investments to 7.3% GDP growth in the third quarter, to Bollywood, to technology. I honestly think that India is the story of 2023. And JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, all saying that they're going to be, it's going to be the story of 2024, in fact, in terms of investment. All right, coming to Africa now. Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, World Trade Organization Director General, she spoke at a UBA Tony Elumelu Foundation COP28 panel. I've seen you folks have been talking about COP28 all morning with Ovieteme George, boots on the ground. She was there with Tony Elumelu. They spoke about creating jobs for the youth, also climate change and the like. UBA, along with Stanbic at the Bankers Awards, this was I think on Friday, won the 2023 Bank of the Year award. UBA won regionally for Africa. Stanbic won for, I think, for Nigeria. EcoBank won Financial Inclusion of the Year, and a number of other banks did pretty well there. And then I think finally, as far as more awards are concerned, Professor Benedict Oramah of the Afreximbank getting Person of the Year, Forbes Africa. They say as the Afreximbank president since 2015, Professor Benedict Oramah has spearheaded initiatives to promote, facilitate, and finance intra-Africa and extra-Africa trade, in the process fostering global collaborations and cementing the continent's development future. And then finally, the FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service, has given a reprieve to taxpayers until the end of this month. That's Zacchaeus Adedeji, chair of the FIRS, saying that, so they basically, if you haven't paid your taxes up until the end of this month, they're going to forgive interest and penalties. But then you have to make up those payments by the end of the year. If you don't, those penalties and those interests will be lumped back in on the 1st of January 2024. That is our Africa Global
So Rotus, why I was arguing with you was that this is not new, because India has always been up there. So anybody that's comparing Nollywood with Bollywood, they don't know what they're saying. I'm sorry, with due respect.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of Indian population in every part of the world that has also, sort of like let other populations to acculturate with them. I'll give you an instance, Rotus. It's 1975.
Yeah.
A movie called Sholay was released. You remember Toto Reggae, Reggae. Let me just tell you the number. Big Bollywood fan. The box office then was going over to 30 million US dollars. In fact, the foot traffic of people that bought the tickets to see Sholay were 100 million as at 1975. So Indian movies have always been the itch.
But the point
look at movies like Slumdog Millionaire, Rotus.
Yeah, but Slumdog Millionaire is a Hollywood picture.
Yeah, so the thing is that a movie like this All Is Well movie. You remember that All Is Well?
Yeah.
All Is Well.
So the point is that these two films, in Animal and in Pathan, they are the biggest Bollywood debuts in the North American box office.
Yeah.
So the thing is that they have made the most money in Bollywood history as far as they're opening.
I'm not surprised. And they're going to make more.
Oh yeah.
Because they've been able to harness their culture. India is a big market. It sells. That's just it. Another thing too that is working for Nigeria, we should be able to, harness our culture and all of that. But our leaders have not been able to sit in and speak to the stakeholders in our sector. Example, I think in 2015 they said they were going to give, some money to Nollywood and all of that. I don't know how that happened. We need to be able to pump more money in, so that we can now harness our culture.
Yeah.
Those in the music sector have been able to do it. But my argument is always the fact that the money doesn't trickle down, because those that now hold the back end of the capital are still foreign companies, like your distribution companies, like your record companies, like the Sonys of this world and all of that. So that's why when Davido sells a big music concert abroad, it doesn't really trickle down here, because really the management and the back end is the likes of them, Sony and Co and all of that. So except we now build those ecosystems to be able to bring that money back here, all those big successes will never trickle down here.
But what I want to see is, and the point, I let them release a Nollywood film in a US theater and see how well it performs. That's what I want to see.
I think we're getting there. It will do well.
We're getting there.
There are some that go to festivals that do well in festivals.
That do very well. I have to say that this particular government, Tinubu government, looks positioned to support and invest in Nollywood. I mean, with the creation of the Ministry for the Creative Economy, they met with some Nollywood stakeholders. So in that regard, this is putting pressure because there's so much potential. We keep talking about the potential in terms of not just at federal government, even at subnational government, but the will and the money, the investment hasn't yet been seen. So I'm sure it will be great news for that sector, for the government to really pay attention and invest, so we begin to see the returns. But I like to talk about hablo, which is Latin for cleanse in Singapore. And you're totally right, because the first thing when we were talking about that story was like, oh my goodness, the fear of robots taking our jobs is, here. But the truth is that whilst, yes, people don't want to do the dirty job of cleaning public toilets, it is a source of income for a number of people. I know how some students, people who migrants have been able to find their feet by doing these, in quote, dirty jobs. And so whether we like it or not, it's still income for some people. However, talking about the human aspect, these robots cannot operate without human supervision, according to reports.
So far, yes.
So far, a human being, even though you would reduce the number of human cleaners that would be there, but at least so far, a human being has to supervise the robots, be able to also see areas where they don't get. So talking to the point about the fact that they may not be able to see, all the dirty parts. Right. So the human cleaner can then clean. I hope human beings will not become assistants of robots. That's what we're looking forward to. But I must talk about innovation because in that development, the University of Singapore was instrumental to supporting the development of that robot.
Yes.
And it brings back the question, especially on the African continent, not just in Africa, as to how much we are investing in technology. The world has gone so far. How many universities in Nigeria can support such, such efforts? I must commend the students of the Federal Government College in Shagamu, the Shaggy Girls, the robot they created. It was so impressive. I am hoping that that we're able to, investors will see that and actually encourage those young girls, secondary school students from the Federal Government Shagamu, the Shaggy. The name of the is Shaggy, I believe. The name of the robot.
The artist, right?
I saw the robot and it was so good. Young girls who developed this. Finally, congratulations to UBA and Tony Elumelu, not just on the high-level panel at COP28. I must mention, because I asked the question earlier about the private sector and their role in fighting climate change, especially in Nigeria. We look at government a lot of times, but the private sector can also play a role. And we have seen that through the Tony Elumelu Foundation, funding of initiatives, green initiatives, organizations who are tackling climate change across the African continent. That is laudable. And to see the number of Nigerians like Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who had talked about partnership with the foundation, looked at Ahuna, the UNDP Regional Director for Africa, and a number of people. I think it's important, and I hope it would also serve as an example and inspiration to other private sector organizations to take up this challenge. We cannot always go cap in hand to the world. Yes, we need foreign investment in, to transition to clean energy, but there's a role that we can play as a nation. Let's go with pride. We have money in some areas. I think that's really commendable.
Agreed. You talked about cryptocurrency.
Yes.
Now, 40,000. But industry experts are in fact saying that it's likely to get as high as $100,000 by next year. Yeah. That's their position. And okay, you've identified the reasons, the rate cuts, the optimism about interest rate cuts. You left out the settlement of the Binance case with the Department of Justice, and also the conclusion of the FTS case. All of these I've heard. But how do you place this general optimism about interest rate cuts against Powell, Jeremy Powell, the Fed chair, saying on Friday that, look, he's not so sure that people should not move too fast and expect that rates will be cut next year, for which reason Treasury yields went down, the stocks went up. So it's a combination of things. But gold is doing much better.
Over $2,000.
It's over $2,000 now. And it looks like all that glitters is gold.
Ah, Doctor, well played.
Well, people say all that glitters is not gold. But right now, all that glitters is gold. Because of global uncertainty, a lot of people are investing, in gold stocks, even central banks.
Indeed.
About 24% of central banks globally, are strengthening their gold reserves because the expectation is that when interest rates are cut, global uncertainty continues, the dollar will be weaker. And, gold is usually, under such circumstances, a more reliable store of value. But I was going to ask you, Elon Musk, we discussed Elon Musk last week at the D-Book Summit. Now, apart from Disney and Apple, Walmart has also pulled its adverts. So the question now is, yes, his staff, Yacarino, last week issued a mail telling the staff psychophantically that he believes in Elon Musk, that he's a visionary and all of that, but If all the adverts run away on the basis of pro-Nazi anti-Semitic sentiments, that X provides a platform for, how would the business survive?
It could die.
Going to Israel may not make any difference after all.
Yeah. It's the corporations. They're the ones that are the real customers of it.
Elon Musk says the advertisers can disappear. Can he sustain the business?
He cannot. So, doctor, he needs advertisers.
He's the world richest man.
So he wants to put his money into
that's what he said. He's a rich man. He's a rich man.
We'll see how it goes.
When 80% of the profit for X is from advertising.
Exactly. That's it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.